Hey there everyone, it's Baka here. Welcome to episode number 20 of the Wide World of Geek, where we look at what's new and newsworthy in the world of geek this week. I have a couple things that I want to talk about today that are, I suppose, newsworthy. The first up is the long-standing Vertigo comic series Hellblazer will be coming to an end soon. Now, this does not mean that the adventures of John Constantine are going to be ending. In fact, they are going to be accelerating. Constantine has been showing up in comics like Justice League Dark, and the news is that Constantine himself will get a proper DC Universe comic, and instead of being called Hellblazer, it will in fact just be called Constantine. Now, this puts him in the New 52. This allows him to have contact with the heroes and villains of mainstream DC, and it brings up a big question. What about the other Vertigo Comics characters? What about Sandman and Death? What about Lucifer? All of these different characters that were created in the Vertigo universe now have the opportunity to be in the regular DC universe. And one thing to keep in mind is the Vertigo universe was originally created as a way for more independent styled, darker, more mature comics to be produced by DC without the DC label on them. This is back in the time when the comic code was ruling everything, but with that pretty much done away with, nobody really following it anymore, and comics in general being for more mature audiences, this gives DC the opportunity to to add more popularity to these titles. Fables is a Vertigo book, and it's hugely popular. It doesn't necessarily need to have any interaction with anything else in the DC universe, but if it had a DC stamp on there instead of a Vertigo stamp, it might reach a wider audience than it already does. Second piece of news. This is one that I absolutely love because it was the funniest thing I've seen in the past week. On the Nerdist channel, youtube.com/Nerdist. Yesterday, Chris Hardwick posted a new music video from his, I guess you could say his old comedy duo, Hard and Phirm. It's Chris Hardwick and Mike Phirman. They had a long-standing partnership where they would be musical comedians. They'd make videos. They'd perform live on stage. But their careers separated. They both had success in their own areas. But they came back together to do a music video that is inspired by their favorite internet meme, which is the Ermahgerd. The music video itself is called Goosebumps, or Goosebumps. It's based on the internet meme with a really nerdy girl in glasses holding up a stack of R.L. Stine's Goosebumps books. And somebody decided to caption it in very, I don't know if you'd call it derogatory, but a very funny way of speaking. The kind of, I've got a retainer in my mouth, I can't pronounce anything sort of speech. And it was something like, Ermahgerd, Goosebumps, I love books. And it spawned this whole huge mess of internet memes using Ermahgerd and using speech like that. And so the music video is in the style of a boy band R&B group singing to this Goosebumps girl trying to hit on her and everything. The Muppets Swedish Chef shows up. The lead singer of Paramore does background vocals to it. It's absolutely hilarious. I highly recommend you go check it out. That's youtube.com/Nerdist. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, I want to give a little spotlight to a company out there that I think is just one of the coolest things for geekdom ever. This company is called Geek Chic. They make furniture that is for the gamer, for specifically the tabletop gamer. They have different tables and storage furniture, things like that. So what I would like to do is I would like to do a little spotlight on them. I'm going to show you some images. I'm going to talk a little bit about them. And I hope you guys enjoy. Geek Chic is a furniture and accessories company based out of the Seattle, Washington area. They specialize in furniture for gamers. They create a number of different tables and storage devices in order for you to have the best gaming experience. But what they are really proud of is that their furniture is quality. It's heirloom quality furniture, which means it can stand the test of time. It's also multi-use furniture. It's furniture that you can set up as a dining room table, as a coffee table, as a nice bookshelf. It's things that look very nice, but then they have a multiple purpose. You can take the tabletop off, and you've got a sunken area for your gaming. So whether you're into role-playing games and you're using miniatures, or other types of board games where you want to be able to set this stuff up, and maybe they're board games that you will be playing over multiple days. Maybe it's a role-playing game like Dungeons & Dragons where you might meet up once a week, once a month, and you don't want your stuff to get messed up. Well, you can use this sunken table design to go ahead and keep all of your stuff safe, and you can put the tabletop on it, still use the table, and have your game waiting for you the next time you go. Now, I want to look specifically at a couple pieces of furniture because I think they're excessively cool. The first one is the Hoplite. Now, the Hoplite is a coffee table that is also a gaming table with multiple stations. Now, for the Hoplite, you can take either the entire tabletop off, or you can take it off in leaves. So if you want to have a flat surface in front of you, if you're on the end, you can have that and still have a large gaming area. Now, the really cool thing about this piece of furniture, and honestly about just about every piece of furniture that Geek Chic makes, is their exclusive rail system. Now, this is a channel that is set into the edge of the table that allows you to add things like player shelves, cup holders, hand holders, things like that, dice holders. They have hidden drawers in these pieces of furniture. The basic concept is that they want to make the table as efficient as possible. They want no wasted space, and they do it beautifully. Now, you can get a felt top on here in multiple colors. You can get an acrylic layer to place on top of that to protect it, to set your game board underneath and set the acrylic layer on top. Protects the game board. It can be lifted off with a simple suction cup. So the Hoplite table is really cool, especially if you tend to game in your living room. Now, the other piece I want to look at is the Emissary table. This is kind of their basic dining room table, and it's set up with pull-out shelves or drawers, your choice. It's got everything that the Hoplite had, but it's a dining room table. Now, one thing I did not mention with the Hoplite is that these tables come in a multitude of different materials. Different woods, maple, cherry, walnut. The Emissary itself comes in walnut, cherry, or maple. You can get adjustable lengths for the legs in case you want to do this at bar stool height. When you are not playing, it is a beautiful table. Now, outside of the tables, one piece of storage furniture I want to look at is called the Keep. Now, the Keep is a hutch / dresser sort of system. It's got two separate parts. It's got the lower part with pull-out drawers where you can keep flat materials or shallower materials, and then it's got kind of a really cool shelving system with shelves that are not just straight across. They are at different levels, allowing for larger sized items or smaller sized items to fit on there, and for them to not fit in a very linear way. It makes it a little more interesting when you can mix that up. Now, the last thing I want to talk about with Geek Chic is their accessories. And they call this stuff that comes from the labs. And the first thing I want to look at is some of their weapons. Now, what they do is when they make a table, they have scrap wood. They take that scrap wood and they turn that into swords or knives or battle axes. And for the most part, these all have a natural finish to them. Every now and then there's some staining or maybe a little painting, but they have things like the hero swords, some classic medieval weapons, the axe, which is a double-headed crescent battle axe. There is the blazing knife, which is a real cool kind of fantasy-looking knife. And when they get done making these weapons, they have scrap left over from there. So they will take that and they will make dice boxes, deck boxes, things like that out of it. They then take the scrap from that and they make things like measuring sticks. And one thing that is extremely cool are the mustache monocles. These are little monocles with a chain that hooks to a wooden mustache. It's very steampunky, but it's very clever, very funny. So that's Geek Chic. It's, once again, an awesome company. I would love to have one of their tables if I could afford it. And honestly, guys, that's all there is for this week. So this weekend, there will be a new View review. And until then, this is Baka, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.